Welcome to another edition of Uncaged, presented by MUSC Health, the voice of the Cougars, Everett German, and today our special guest, Sophia Tougas. She's a member of the women's basketball team. And Sophia, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit. We're going to talk basketball. Obviously, you and your teammates, y'all are crushing it. You're going to the NCAA tournament. We know all that, but I want to talk a little bit about you. A very interesting story, perseverance and being able to fight through. Let's start back to how you got into basketball. When did you start having that love? When did you start playing? Kind of take us back to the young Sophia.
Well, I really don't remember a time where there wasn't a basketball in my hand or just like involved with sports. Started very young. My father actually got me and my sister, my older sister, she's 2 years older. So he got us into the game, and it just took off from there. Once we got our hand on the ball and understood it, it was over. So
now, who's a better player, you or your sister?
My sister she would say hers, but she's a little stronger. So,
Okay.
I'll give it to her a little bit, but
Okay.
I can shoot better.
Looking at these numbers, I don't think she probably shoots as well as you do.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was right in that sentence. So we're talking a little bit about you, and you talked about the perseverance. You started out at Cal State Bakersfield out in California.
Yes.
I'll remind everyone you're from New York, so help me understand here on the map. I'm thinking of that movie Coming to America. How did you end up from here East Coast to West Coast back to the East Coast?
I really just wanted to change in scenery. I started my high school in New York, and then from there I went to Brewster Academy out in New Hampshire, a prep school, and so I actually reclassed when I went there, and that experience of getting that like home away from home feel, I wanted to kind of see what else I could get at the college level. So when the opportunity to go to California was there, I was like, it felt like a no-brainer to me because, California in the movies, the beaches,
Right.
It seemed like the life. And, so I really wanted to experience that and take full advantage of the opportunities that were given to me.
All right, so then of course you come back here to Charleston. You came back to your senses and understood East Coast is better than the West Coast. We have sun here.
Yes.
But then you got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Talk about how that came about and just how that has played a part in your career.
So that was my third autoimmune disease. I actually have two other ones, and I have alopecia as well, which my medication for the RA has helped with my alopecia, but that was really kind of what started, it started acting up out in California, so I was, really losing my hair pretty badly, and it was pretty obvious. And then from there, I remember I was playing one day, and my knee, something was wrong with my knee,
Right.
and so I go to my trainers and everything, and I'm like, for a couple weeks we were trying to work through, there was no injury that I remembered. We were just trying to figure out what could be going on, did all the images and whatnot, it was swelling, and after the images they were like, everything's fine, there's nothing wrong with your knee. So I was like, I just tried to, push through. And I remember we were playing our big rivalry game against Fresno State. And I was trying to push through, and it was just one, step I did. I was like, you know what, I just want to go in and we want to do the scope. I was like, there's something wrong. Like, let's just do the surgery and figure it out. And so after the surgery, I come out of the surgery, doctors were like, oh, everything's fine. It looked great. We took some of your fat pad, maybe that will help. And I was like, okay, that doesn't really make sense, but all right. And so after the surgery, I came out and my next knee started to swell. So then we knew it was systemic and not an injury because,
Right.
that didn't make any sense. So after that, it was just months of testing. So it was about probably 8 months of testing. And by that time, I couldn't get out of bed on my own. I had to go on chemotherapy to get my body under control and just gain, my movements back.
Right.
So it was a pretty trying, 8-9 months, and the doctors actually told me I'd never play basketball again. So that was kind of, I went through all those meetings of how to stay on scholarship without playing, all the X's and O's, and after having all those meetings, it just didn't feel right to me. I wasn't,
Right.
I wasn't ready to give up, and so, here I am.
Right.
Didn't give up.
Well, I can't even imagine just some of the challenges. How does that affect your game now?
Oh, a lot. I am a shooter and whatnot, but I've been, the past couple of years, I've been less physical than I was, growing up or would like to be. The little hits, they feel like hard hits, and, so I try, my coaches, they've done a great job with, allowing me to be me and try and, work through it as it comes. But, it definitely changed the game for me a bit, trying to protect myself and whatnot.
The success that you're having, do you want to position that as like somewhat of a role model for maybe younger little girls or even little boys that may be dealing with the same situation to know that, hey, you can play with this if you put your mind to it?
No, definitely. And actually, so the summer after my diagnosis out in Bakersfield, so this was, I believe, 2022, we were having our camp, and this was around the time where I was trying to prove to my coach that, don't give up on me yet,
Right.
I can still try, I want to play. And so we were at the camp, and, he calls me over from a couple courts, and there's this girl sitting next to him, and she's struggling, she looks like she's struggling and whatnot, and he's like, he has me sit down and just talk to her, and I thought, just a young camper going through it.
Right.
She ends up sharing with me that she has rheumatoid arthritis as well. And so that right there, that was my I can't give up.
Right.
I was struggling, and this was a time where I was trying to prove myself, and if she's sitting here, she's giving it all she got.
Right.
Come on, so.
Well, I can tell you some people who are happy that you didn't give up, and that's Robin Harmony and all of Cougar Nation, because you and your teammates have gotten out to a phenomenal start. I know you were here last year but didn't get a chance to play. Now you're getting your opportunity. What's it feel like for you to finally be able to put on that Cougar uniform and excel?
Oh, it feels amazing. Like you said, Coach Harmony and the rest of her staff are just taking the chance on me and giving me the opportunity to come and continue to prove myself and the love for the game. It's amazing, and I love my teammates. Everybody here just makes it, that much better.
So I have to ask you, what are your individual goals? Most people say, I want to make first team score. But for you, I think it might be maybe getting through the season, staying healthy. What are your individual goals?
Just that, staying healthy, getting through the season, just making as much of an impact as I can, being there for my teammates in any way that I can, whether that is, if it's on the bench, cheering as loud as I can, if it is out there hitting threes, if it's just, whatever it is, I'm here to do that, so.
And that team goal, obviously making the NCAA tournament?
Oh, of course. Last year hurt us, so we're coming back for what we didn't get.
Folks, she's averaging 9 points a game. She can absolutely light it up. Sharpshooter on the women's team. You have to come out and see them. Don't forget, women's basketball games, admission is absolutely free. Sophia wants to, give you a high five before the game, after the game. She'll even hit a three and point at you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, but come on out and see her and her teammates. Sophia, thank you so much. Best of luck with the season, obviously with your health. Keep pushing, keep doing you. And I want to thank her for being our next guest on Uncaged, presented by MUSC Health. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.